Okay, the Planning Commission meeting of May 13th, 2026 will come to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. McGillis, you want to lead us?
Yes, I do. Hand over heart, stand if you can, and let's start.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The secretary will call roll.
Commissioner Mann? Commissioner Tolson?
Here.
Commissioner Chrisman?
Here.
Vice Chairperson Wright?
Here.
Chairperson Kennedy?
Here. May I have a motion for the approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Unless there are any discrepancies, no discrepancies, unless there are any objections, the agenda stands approved. Approval of minutes. Next item, number 5, may I have a motion for approval of the March 3rd, 2026 and April 8th, 2026 minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I hear a second?
I'll second those.
Okay, next is the declaration of conflict. The secretary will read the declaration of conflict.
If any member of the Planning Commission may have a conflict of interest or any reason why that member must abstain from consideration of any matter on this agenda, he or she should so declare at this time.
I have a conflict of interest for the public hearing A1. Since I live in the Ronquil Canyon project and that is my primary residence, I will be recusing myself from that item.
Okay, the chair recognizes Commissioner Chrisman's conflict and is so noted that she will abstain from participation on item number, is that 11A1? Yes, okay. This is the time allotted for public statements or comments on all items other than public hearing items. Is there anyone in the chamber wishing to be heard? I have a card from James McGillis.
As you know, our city council recently ignored all 4 neighborhood councils and your unanimous vote regarding short-term rentals in Simi Valley. In an affront to your decision, one council member attempted to rewrite your decision as a 4-1 vote, even though that planning commissioner was not present and did not vote. To my knowledge, each of you is appointed for a 4-year term, which coincides with the election and district of each council member. Although each of you are free to vote as you please, to be reappointed, alignment with your appointment council member puts pressure on you to vote the way they might like. Months ago, one city council member told me that if the Planning Commission voted to ban short-term rentals, there's no way that the city council would go against that decision. Since your independent decision was ignored and overridden by the city council, I hope that frees you to vote your conscience, not your political loyalties. Although the public may not be aware, not only are you the Planning Commission, but you're also the city's mature tree preservation ordinance overseer, and you oversee Arbor Day activities for the city. Earlier this month, our mayor accepted the 26th Annual Tree City USA Award. There was also a public proclamation regarding the city's participation in Arbor Day activities. And Joni Mitchell's classic song, Big Yellow Taxi, take down all the trees and put them in a tree museum, charge the people $1.50 just to see them, pave paradise, put up a parking lot. Tonight, we shall see if Simi Valley's current motto of Tree City USA should be replaced with Simi Valley, we never met a developer we didn't like. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public statements? Do you have a card? Okay. Okay, right person, wrong item. Okay, got it. All right. Correspondence. Is there any correspondence from the Deputy Director, City Planner?
Yes, Chairman Kennedy and members of the Planning Commission, we do have one supplemental staff report for agenda item 11A2. We provided that to you here at your desk, and a copy is provided out in the lobby for the public.
Did everybody get that? Yep. Okay.
This is regarding the Oak Road project.
Okay, next item is the consent calendar. Item number, that was item number 9, right? Any consent calendar items? I show no consent calendar items here. Correct? Continued business. Next item, item 10, continued business. I show no continued business here. Is that correct? Okay. New business. Next item, item 11, new business, item 11.A.1, public hearings. This is the time and place set for a public hearing on the consideration of planned development permit modification PD-S-2025-0013. Are there any ex parte communications to report? I have something to report on this. I was contacted by a resident and got an explanation. They're an original resident from the beginning up to date, and their perspective on this development. All right, item C, may we have an oral report on this matter by staff?
Yes, Chairperson Kennedy, members of the Planning Commission. Yes, this is the Runkle Canyon / Woodlands application to consider the planned development permit to approve the 21 single-family house designs on the estate lots up in the Runkle Canyon specific plan area. And our assistant planner, Sarah Martinez, will be having a presentation. And Sarah's been here over 2 years now, and this is her first official Planning Commission presentation. So take it away, Sarah.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. Tonight, we will be reviewing a request for a modification to the Master Plan Development Permit PD-S-930 for the construction of detached single-family residences on 21 of the 25 existing estate lots located within the Runkle Canyon specific plan area. The subject modification request involves only the site designs and architecture for the proposed homes on existing lots. No additional homes are being proposed. In 2004, the City Council approved the tentative map and the Master Plan Development Permit for the project, in conjunction with approvals of the development agreement, the Runkle Canyon specific plan, also referred to as the Woodlands Development, and certifying the final environmental impact report. Once completed, the project will contain 461 dwelling units along with other amenities. While the project is generally complete, there are still 25 residential estate lots, 138 attached senior condominiums, and a senior recreation facility pending construction. Site grading and infrastructure associated with the project approvals have been previously constructed. 4 of the residential estate lots are in building permit plan check. The remainder of the residential estate lots are the subject of this application. The proposed 1- and 2-story homes will be situated on residential estate lots spread across the community, mainly adjacent to existing homes, serving as a transition between single-family neighborhoods and open space. They are located in planning areas 1, planning areas 10, planning area 6, and planning area 7, as shown on the screen. The site includes residential estate lots that range from 40,759 square feet to 398,138 square feet. The applicant proposes 4 distinct models offered in different color elevation schemes and architectural design styles. The floor area ranges from 3,692 square feet to 4,890 square feet. The proposed architectural design styles are Spanish colonial, English country, and craftsman. The first proposed design reflects the characteristics of the Spanish colonial style through the incorporation of low S-profile concrete roof tiles, decorative clay piping details, wrought iron, gabled end details, and arches, which are typical of this architectural style. The next proposed design reflects the characteristics of the English country style through the incorporation of steeply pitched roofs, grouped windows, and brick veneer on the first-story element of the home, and fiber cement board and batten siding on the upper story, which are common features of this architectural style. The final design option reflects the characteristics of the craftsman style through the incorporation of gabled roofs with porches, masonry veneer columns, and the facades are a combination of materials, including masonry veneer, stucco, fiber cement lap siding, and board and batten siding, which are typical of this architectural style. To achieve 4-sided architecture, the applicant has agreed to include architectural enhancements on the side and rear elevations, including decorative guardrails, recessed windows, brick veneer treatments, and masonry veneer column detailing in accordance with condition *A-12. As a reminder, to approve the project, it must meet the required findings that are equivalent to those required for the original permit, as outlined in the development agreement. This includes a modification to a planned development permit and compliance with the hillside performance standards set forth in the 2004 Simi Valley Municipal Code. Staff has determined the proposed project meets the required findings as detailed in the resolution. Staff recommends the Planning Commission adopt a resolution approving the proposed planned development permit modification and reuse of the certified final environmental impact report and addendum. This concludes staff's presentation, and we are available for questions.
Any commissioner questions for staff on this? Ken?
It's not so much a question, but if you could just, this is a high fire danger zone. Could you just really, and I know this is in the staff report, but just, could you just real briefly just kind of go over the fire safety features of these homes, just real quickly, just some of the elements that are in this project, in these buildings, if that's okay. And I know it's in the report, but just for the benefit of the people that are here, so.
Yeah, so for the homes in general, they'll go through plan check and they'll be routed to the fire department. And also each home, each landscape plan will also go to the fire department to ensure that they're compliant because they are in a very high fire hazard zone.
So as mentioned, there's 2 aspects to it. One is the construction of the home, and the other aspect is the landscaping. The landscaping will need to meet the 3 different zones: the 0 zone, the 5-foot zone, and the 20-foot zone, along with field modification requirements. Then also for the homes, they will have to be sprinklered, non-combustible siding. It's, I think, Chapter 7A of the building code. Vents will need to be screened, non-combustible roofs. All those will be part of the conditions of approval from the fire department and part of the building plan check process.
Thank you.
Commissioner Tolson?
Just real quick, Aaron, on the landscaping, wooden fencing allowed, not allowed?
Not allowed in the very high fire
Thank you.
hazard zone.
And they're also not proposing wooden fencing as well.
Any other questions of staff? Okay, at this time, we'll open the public testimony portion of the hearing. Would the applicant like to present the project?
Good evening, Chair Kennedy and Planning Commissioners. My name is Jordan Ferguson. I'm a partner at Procopio, and I'm here representing Runkle Canyon this evening. Just wanted to start out by saying we are here, and we're here about a month ahead of our schedule through the development agreement, and that is a credit to staff. We've been working really closely with staff on this, city manager and the city attorney, but this evening specifically, Sarah and Aaron have been wonderful. And so we can't thank them enough. We would not be here without staff. And so thank you. And Sarah, wonderful job on your first presentation. So just getting that out of the way, a bit of background. Sarah covered it pretty well, but I'll give you the quick bit again. The project has been in development for quite some time, with initial approvals granted back in 2004. The overall project will contain 461 dwelling units along with associated amenities. As Sarah already said, nearly 300 of those units are completed. What remains are the 138 senior condominiums and the 25 estate homes. As Sarah also said, 4 of those 25 homes are already in building permit plan check, and we're expecting to have those constructed by the end of the year. Approval of those 4 homes was done again by staff, and we've had a great experience working with them on those, and we expect hopefully to have the same for the next 21. So the remaining 21 homes are what are before you this evening. Your comments are hopefully going to get us to the finish line so that we can get started building these things as soon as possible. We are, as Sarah said, requesting a modification to the master plan development permit. This modification involves only the layout of each home and the architecture for the proposed homes. Staff has identified the 4 corrections that you saw that they would like added, and we've incorporated all of those already into the plans. So we are prepared to address all of those corrections this evening. At this point, I'm going to turn things over to Gary Cunningham, the VP of Architecture at WHA Architects, and he's going to walk us through the specifics. Both Gary and myself are happy to answer any questions that you may have once his presentation is done. Thank you so much again.
And I missed your name. Can you give it to me real quick?
Jordan Ferguson.
Jordan, thank you.
Of course.
Good evening. My name is Gary Cunningham, Vice President of Architecture for WHA. Sarah, very nice presentation. Had all the detail and elements, and you've covered almost every item I had that I thought I had to cover. With that, are you able to bring up the PowerPoint, or is there anything to show? If not, that's perfectly fine. Oh, no problem. Okay. So just to add to Sarah's very detailed report, the ability of the home buyer or applicant to come out and build these homes, again, these are custom lots. Each house has the ability to be customized at a buyer's profile or a choice. We have pre-selected and identified homes on the plans or on the lots with a style, a plan, and a color scheme. Perfect slide. This slide here presents on the left the lot information. The right side of the slide is the lot options. As you can tell, vertically, it's listed as plans. Corresponding color goes with a particular elevation style. But you'll see in bold down each column, a particular lot has been identified as pre-plotted. Working with my staff, we've identified for the best of the blending in with the community, not to repeat homes directly across with the same style, same elevation, color, etc. So we pre-plotted. However, a homeowner, would like to customize and work with staff, they have the ability to select a home, select its color within its style and its supporting color that's in the back of the exhibit, which is all of our color schemes. However, the final selection has to be finalized through staff. So it just gives the opportunity to allow each lot to be customized, i.e. these are custom homes, custom lots. So that was one of the main things I wanted to point out, that the buyers have those options or lot options. Sarah did mention that the architecture is 360 degrees. So everything that you find elements on the front is continue to wrap around the sides and the rear of the home. So the level of detail is using fire resistive or ignition resistive materials to clarify the earlier question by staff. One additional thing that it helps is the eave or the rake of the rafter tails have been covered with stucco. That will help any kind of fire embers from getting caught. This is a ventless attic, so fire embers will not actually get into the attic, and where most house fires start, wildfires. So this is a ventless attic system. Again, another way to help make sure the house is fire resistive for the community. I'm available for any specific questions, but Sarah, thank you. You did a very detailed for your first one. And that was just the additional information I wanted to point out that's available to the buyers. Thank you.
Thank you. I have another speaking card here from Craig Rayburn.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a couple of questions, and I'm a resident where they're doing this, and actually my house backs up to several of these lots. One question I have is, how old is the environmental report that we're using? Do we know how old that is? You said it was 2004?
Yeah, they'll get back to you with that answer.
From what I read, typically that report's good for 3 to 5 years, and I believe their report's 3 times that age at least. Does their report factor in changes in the wildlife that's prospered since those lots have been empty? There's deer that go back there, there's coyotes, there's hawks, raccoons. I'm wondering about the streets. They talked about the house, but they didn't talk about the streets and how we're getting to those houses. Regarding fire, my fire insurance is $12,000 a year, State Farm. That's $1,000 a month. And I'm a ways away from the mountain, so I don't know if anybody's addressed that. Has anybody factored in climate change? I mean, we have more winds than we've ever had, and I've lived out here my whole life. And then the placement of the houses, they haven't really said, where they're gonna face or how the streets are gonna go there. So I'm kind of wishing that we got some of that information too. That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
That's all the cards I have, except for Matt Sawyer, who will hold you in abeyance unless you'd like to speak now. Okay. Are there any questions for the applicants from commissioners?
No, not at this time. I don't.
The questions that were asked of staff, will they be addressing that? Howell's report?
Yes, that's, I think, our agenda item past the next one here, right? Where are we at?
Yeah.
Okay, is that where we're at now? Okay, so are there any comments from staff regarding statements made during the public hearing?
Sure. With regard to the EIR, the original EIR was certified in 2004. The subsequent addendum was certified in 2012. As far as staff is aware, I'm not aware of any 3-year deadline for EIRs. We did analyze the project under CEQA guidelines section 15162, which allows us to reuse an environmental document for a project subsequent to those findings. And we basically have to give a simple answer, we have to make sure that there are no, and Carl may correct me on this, that there aren't any new significant unusual circumstances for this project. The homes are going on lots that are already graded. Deer may come across, but that tends to happen. So there's no, apart from doing the pad certification and things like that, there's no additional grading. So staff did not identify any unusual environmental circumstances that prevented us from reutilizing the environmental document.
Sorry, one last thing. And in regards to the placement of the homes in the exhibits, it shows exactly where the homes are going to be placed, and we made sure that they were in compliance with Simi Valley Municipal Code, the 2004, and also the Runkle Canyon specific plan. So they required 20-foot rear and front yard setbacks and 10-foot side setbacks.
So maybe the question was more along orientation on the lot, not the setbacks?
Yes, so the orientation was also shown on the exhibits. I do have a photo here. It's of a landscape plan, but it shows the orientation of the lot. Just give me 1 second. So this lot, lot 15, it shows that it's facing the cul-de-sac. If you look at the civil plans, which are at the very end of the exhibits, it shows it more clearly, but this is just an example.
So as an example, on this particular lot, the only thing that might change is a reverse floor plan of the same plan?
Yeah.
Just a reverse, okay.
Yeah, you got it.
And in regard to some of the other additional comments, the access roads are as they're constructed. There's no change to that. And in terms of fire insurance, that's beyond the city's purview.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to respond to any of the comments regarding statements made during the public hearing? Yes.
Just to reiterate that, yes, we do have all the orientations in the exhibits and detailed, I believe it's a 96-page plan set that's been provided to the commission as well. I can plug in and go through the various angles as needed, but I don't think that that's where we are. So just wanted to let you know that if you do have specific questions about a lot, we can go there.
Thank you. I remember seeing that. Okay, if there are no further questions, we will close the public testimony portion of the hearing. We did have, no, that's another one. Okay. Are there any comments or questions from members of the Planning Commission at this time?
I'll go. I appreciate all the hard work from staff and from the applicant. I think the project is in compliance with what we were trying to move forward with, and they've addressed everything. The one thing that might happen is maybe work with some of the residents to share with them the information on placement of properties and roads of that kind. But in terms of variableness with the three different styles or plans, with the variation to make sure that the two are not the same, I think that's fantastic. And the 360-degree articulation is fantastic. And the fire constraints that they're trying to address is spot on.
Well, being the old timer up here, I think this is the third or fourth time that I've seen parts of this project. I really appreciate the fire part of it. And since we're really just looking at the layout of the homes and the landscape project, or the landscape part of it, I really appreciate it. One of the things I really appreciate on the homes themselves is the fact that it is four-sided architecture. And I really appreciate the architect that back in 2012, the architect paid attention to the comments that we said, because I can see those elements incorporated into it, and I really appreciate that part of it. That's definitely something that I see there, and I appreciate that. And the landscaping looks great. I mean, so I'm hoping that all that pans out the way it is. And I reiterate what Commissioner Tolson said. I hope that that orientation that just Mr. Rayburn, I hope that you would just make sure that he gets, just send him a PDF or something of those to make sure that he knows where the orientation is, or that, we make sure that he gets that so he knows where those roads are and the orientation of the homes. I think that might make him feel a little more comfortable with, the layout of this project, at least. That's an easy thing to do, I think, so. But other than that, I think this is a good start to getting this project a little farther down the road. So I think that's a good thing. So that's where I stand on it.
Well, I know that the last time we talked about this, we kind of pulled the rug a little bit, went from 5 years to, 2. I'm sure the council adjusted that a little bit, but I like to see the progress here. I know this special meeting is very focused just on these 21 of the 25 lots and not everything else that is going on with the other parts of the development. So I appreciate the focus on that. And I know at a short future date, we'll be taking a look at the rest of the development. With that said, may I have a reading of the resolution?
Resolution number SBPC 06-2026, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Simi Valley approving Plan Development Permit Modification PDS 2025-0013 and reuse of the Certified Final Environmental Impact Report and Addendum.
Sorry, I'm just looking for the page.
Commissioner Rice?
Okay, here we go. I move to adopt a resolution approving PDS 2025-0013 and reuse of the Certified Final Environmental Impact Report and Addendum.
I'll second.
I was going to ask for a second. Thank you. Tolson, let's call for a vote.
Oh, I didn't lock it. Sorry. That's your final answer.
The vote passes with Commissioner Chrisman abstaining.
The appeal period for PD-S-2025-0013 is 14 calendar days. Next item is 11-A-2. This is the time and place set for public hearing on the consideration of GPA-2024-0001, Z-S-2024-003, and, there's more, PD-S-2024-0005, and TT-2024-0004, and the determination that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. Are there any ex parte communications to report?
I did have email from Mr. Bright, which I responded to, but that's the extent of it, so.
I got the same email.
I got the same email.
I didn't.
John, they don't like you. Okay, I spoke, I drove the site and spent 30, 40, maybe 50 minutes out there checking it out again. I think that's the fourth time I've driven the site. And the neighbor to the south across the wash came out and we had a lengthy conversation. His family goes back many, many years on that site, so that's all I have to report on that. May we have an oral report from, oral report on this matter from staff? Got to quit reading.
Yes, Chairman Kennedy, members of the Planning Commission, this is the long-awaited application for the 60-unit townhouse project at the south end of Oak Road. Our principal planner, Narn Gunasekera, has tonight's presentation. Narn?
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. Tonight, we'll be reviewing a request for a general plan amendment, a zone change, a plan development permit, and tentative map to allow the construction of a 60-unit, for-sale, multifamily condominium project with 3 affordable units for qualified very low-income home buyers, and a determination that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. The associated affordable housing agreement will be considered by the City Council. As you can see here, the site encompasses 4 parcels located southeast of the intersection of Los Angeles Avenue and Yosemite Avenue. The site is accessed via Oak Road, which is a private roadway that extends north-south along the eastern boundary of the site. The site is bordered by a vacant residential lot to the north, mobile home residences to the east, single-family residences to the south, and multifamily apartments to the west. The Arroyo Semi-Flood Control Channel traverses the site in an east-west direction and separates the 3 northern parcels from the southern parcel. This slide shows some photographs of the site. On the left is a view looking south from 1761 Oak Road. On the right is looking northwest from 1801 Oak Road. The current general plan land use designations are split amongst the 4 parcels for the site. The northernmost 2 parcels, which are 1.52 acres, are medium density residential with an allowable density of 3.6 to 5 units per acre. The 2 southern parcels, comprising 3.78 acres, are moderate density residential with an allowable density of 5.1 to 10 units per acre. The requested general plan amendment will change the land use of the parcels to high density residential, which would be 10.1 to 20 units per acre. Similarly, the current zoning designations are also split amongst the 4 parcels for the site. The northern 2 most parcels are zoned residential medium density RM, and the 2 southern parcels are zoned residential moderate density RMOD. The proposed zone change will change the land use for the site to residential high density. The project includes 57 detached market rate townhomes with 3 to 4 bedrooms. These units, plans 1 through 3 in the table, will range from approximately 1,700 to 2,000 square feet with an attached 2-car garage. The 3 720 square foot affordable units will be in a triplex building, and each will have a 1-car garage. 157 total parking spaces are provided on site, and that includes the garage spaces. As mentioned before, site access will be via Oak Road. Each detached unit will have a small private backyard, as you can see on this site plan. Amenities on the site will include a larger primary community open space area on the eastern end of the property with a shade structure, barbecue island with a picnic and gathering area. A secondary smaller community space will be located to the south. 20 guest parking spaces will be provided adjacent to the recreation areas. Shown on the screen is a streetscape of 4 of the units looking south on the site from Oak Road. The units will range from 25 feet to 27 feet in height. The building designs will be a modern and traditional farmhouse. Each design will have 2 building styles and 2 color variations. As shown here, the modern farmhouse on the left will have a mixture of vertical board and batten siding and stucco, and the traditional farmhouse on the right will have horizontal siding and stucco. The units will have multi-plane roofs with concrete roof tiles, decorative entry doors, and standing seam metal roofs on the first story, as shown. The triplex building will include similar architectural details with bay windows, decorative light fixtures, and recessed windows. A tree report was prepared by Richard Campbell a California registered landscape architect and consulting arborist, and included in the staff report. The site currently has 53 mature trees with 6 valley oaks. 52 trees will be removed, including 5 valley oaks as shown here in the red circles. The city's mature tree preservation regulations require the applicant to replace the removed trees with 36-inch minimum box trees planted on site. The value of the planted trees has to be up to the appraised value of the trees being removed. If there is insufficient space on the site to meet this requirement, they can contribute to the city's tree fund. The total replacement value is approximately $533,000. The project is providing for 3 for-sale affordable housing units for qualified very low-income home buyers. This would be 5% of the 60 units. This qualifies the project for a density bonus increase, modified parking requirements, 1 incentive or concession, and multiple waivers, as long as the waivers do not impose a life or safety hazard. This is pursuant to state law. Note that no density bonus is being requested. A concession or incentive allows modification of development standards that result in identifiable and actual cost reductions to provide for affordable housing. The waivers are for development standards that physically preclude the construction of a project. In general, denial of a concession or waiver requires findings that it would have a specific adverse impact on the health, safety, or physical environment for which there is no mitigation, or that it is not required because it would not preclude construction of the project. The applicant has requested 1 incentive and 4 waivers. It should be noted that the project is not subject to the State Housing Accountability Act due to the requested general plan amendment and zone change. The incentive request is to deviate from the development code requirement that multifamily units be attached, like the triplex unit on the left. The 57 market units, an example of which is shown on the right, will not meet this requirement. A waiver is also being requested for the code requirement for a 20-foot front yard setback. The request is to allow a setback of 10 feet to the property line, shown in blue. This reduced setback would be adjacent to landscaping for the townhome project currently under construction to the north. The units there would be separated by 20 feet and a 6-foot block wall. A waiver is being requested for the code requirement for a minimum interior side yard setback of 15 feet. The request is to allow a setback of 10 feet to the property line shown in blue. This reduced setback would be adjacent to parking spaces and the access driveway for the Sage Creek apartments, and the proposed units would be approximately 60 feet from the apartment building. The third waiver being requested is for the code requirement that the minimum separation between primary structures be 20 feet, and instead to allow a separation of 7 feet, as shown here. And the fourth and final waiver request is for the code requirement that a minimum single-car garage have an interior clearance of width of 12 feet. A width of 10 feet will be provided. An initial study was prepared for the project in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act. No significant impacts were identified, and additional project design features were incorporated as conditions to avoid unforeseen environmental impacts. The change to the general plan triggered tribal consultation as required by state law SB 18. The city provided project materials, including a site plan and the cultural resources study, to 15 tribes on December 17, 2025. Consultation with the tribes closed on March 18, 2026. The Fernandino-Tataviam Band of Mission Indians requested tribal monitoring during grading and ground disturbance activities in case of discovery of tribal resources. This requirement has been added as a condition. The project qualifies for the statutory exemption under Public Resources Section 21080.66 for urban infill housing development projects. This was signed into law in 2025 pursuant to State Assembly Bill AB 130 and SB, I forgot that one, sorry. AB 130. As a reminder, to approve the project, it must meet the required findings for a general plan amendment, zone change, plan development permit, and tentative map findings as detailed in the general plan and the Simi Valley Municipal Code. Staff has determined the proposed project meets the required findings as detailed in the resolution. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution recommending that the City Council approve the proposed general plan amendment, the zone change, plan development permit, and tentative map, and make a determination that the project is categorically exempt from CEQA. This concludes staff's presentation, and we are available for questions.
Go here. Thank you. Any commissioner questions of staff on this project?
I'll reserve my questions for later.
Ken is reserving questions. I did have one in driving this site. I noticed that the Army Corps of Engineers put that flood control channel in there, gosh knows when. And there is not so much a bridge, but a cap that goes across that flood control channel that accesses the lots beyond on the south side. Are there going to be any improvements to that or safety issues involved with continuing to use that as a crossing?
There are no improvements proposed to that. Let me just pull up an exhibit. So the improvements stop at lot 1, which is this property line here. There will be a gap in the block wall, and there will be a driveway connection to that bridge that you can see here. That is about it in terms of proposed improvements.
Yeah, it looked a little shaky to me. So there's how many residential lots beyond?
I believe there's 2.
2?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question too. When you're approaching this for these 4 lots, if you can pull up that, I think it's figure 1. In the staff report, it's figure 1. Does the green represent the road? Because when I drove it, the road is not straight. It kind of curves up.
That's because the site is under construction to the north, so they've rerouted the road.
And the road will be straight.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's big holes in the way right now. I'll reserve my questions as well. Commissioner Tolson? Okay. Okay, at this time, we'll open the public testimony portion of the hearing. Would the applicant like to present the project? And I do have some speaking cards here from the applicant as well, but I'll let you guys sort yourself out. Thank you.
Just need to load up our slides here. Good question. I'll do a little blink here. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share some thoughts on our project.
Could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, it's my next line. My name is Sal Provenza, and I'm the manager of the applicant, Century Property Group. Staff has done an excellent job of presenting the proposed project. We have spent years working with them on various land plans and product types to find the most suitable project. In January of 2023, City Council unanimously supported our general plan amendment and zone change at the pre-screen hearing. Our first application was submitted in May of 2024, and we were deemed complete in March of 2026. On April 14th, the Neighborhood Council number 2 recommended approval of the project. As you can imagine, we are pleased to be here after nearly 4 years. We are currently zoned residential, allowing for up to 49 homes on the entire property without a density bonus. The new zoning allows our 60-home project, will be for sale, on about 4.5 acres. It matches the zoning, as Naren mentioned, to the north, where 70 townhomes are being constructed, and the property to the west with existing apartments. Based on the adjacent uses, we think our request is logical and compatible with the neighborhood. Based on our market research and cost analysis, home buyers are starved for a product that offers the benefits of single-family living at a much lower price. They will likely qualify for FHA financing, and the requested incentive makes these affordable by design homes possible. The 2-story affordable homes are designed to meet an underserved population who want the American dream of home ownership, but cannot qualify for moderate income units due to lack of down payment or insufficient income. Smaller units like this make that dream possible. I'd like to share some of the many benefits of the project. First, our nation, California, and even Simi Valley suffer from an ongoing housing crisis. Building the right project in the right location helps solve that problem. To that end, we are proposing 57 detached homes that will be offered in a primarily residential area that will promote attainable homeownership. We also included 3 affordable homes that will be deed restricted for very low income homeowners. Oak Road is currently a substandard road that several property owners need for access. We entered into an egress, ingress, utility easement, and cost-sharing agreement with City Ventures, the developer to the north, to ensure the orderly installation of Oak Road. That will now be a 30-foot wide, 2-lane road that extends all the way to Los Angeles Avenue. In addition, the internal circulation includes a loop road for convenient access for the residents and the Ventura County Fire Department. We are providing an easement along the south side of the channel for the trail to promote connectivity in accordance with the Arroyo Greenway specific plan. It sounds minor, but each unit will also include a security device, like a Ring camera, to promote safety, and 95% of the homes have 3 or 4 bedrooms to serve a variety of residents and promote some of the modern work from home opportunities. We're adding 67,000 square feet of new landscape. That includes 2 large common areas, a shade structure, barbecue, picnic tables, benches, play amenities, and turf, all which will be maintained by the HOA. We're also conditioned, as Naren mentioned, to invest $533,000 or so in mature trees to be planted on site or contribute to the city's tree fund. We will, of course, abide by the city's existing tree ordinance. As I noted before, City Ventures is building 73-story townhomes, including moderate income homes. The city recently upzoned the property to residential high density, the same zone we're requesting. Our project is similar, but it's also very different. We're lower density. We're at 13.4 dwelling units per acre. They're at 19. Ours are 2-story, for sale detached homes, even though City Ventures is doing 3-story towns. Ours have private backyards, so they have private open space. They each have a 2-car side-by-side garage. It is a lower cost to build, so we could pass that on to the home buyer compared to a 3-story town. Fire insurance, as one of the gentlemen mentioned earlier, has become a real issue with high fire zones, the availability and the cost. Detached homes allow for attainable insurance without paying $1,000 a month. We also have additional parking above the requirement. We have 11 additional spaces above the requirement. We have more common open space with amenities. And we did coordinate quite a bit with City Ventures. We want to make sure that the transition between the projects, especially the 30-foot road that's being widened, helps. It helps that we have the same civil engineer, so we're able to connect with all their drawings exactly. While the project qualifies for a CEQA exemption, we are commissioning best-in-class experts to prepare numerous technical studies, as I listed here. I'd also like to invite our architect, civil engineer, and land use council to share some of their thoughts. I am, of course, available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. We lost it somehow.
Oh,
Up on the screen.
are you okay using that one?
Yep. Yeah, thank you. Good evening. My name is Alan Scales, principal and architect with KTGY. I'd like to walk you through a few of the items we've spent so much time designing here, and we'll sort of go through an overview of how we've laid out the site plan, how the homes live, and then we'll touch on the architecture a little bit. You can see here on the screen the site plan itself consists of 60 total homes. As was mentioned before, we are providing home ownership opportunities here. These are all for sale homes. What was important to us in the initial steps of creating the site plan is thinking about the context. Sal mentioned that we have 2-story homes here, so we're transitioning from the 3-story that's under construction now, dropping down to a 2-story scale to be mindful of the context around us. What was very important to us in the process of laying out the site plan was detached homes, which comes with privatized open space, so private backyards. That was a significant design accomplishment for this site, providing a majority of these homes with those private rear yards. On top of that, we have fairly significant common open spaces, and you can see that here in the large, darker green areas. We have connected sidewalks and streets. You'll see guest parking adjacent to those open spaces, so they're intended to be open and used by the community. We have a total of 4 plan types on site. We range, as mentioned before, from 1-bedrooms up to 4-bedroom homes. We have at-grade living for the majority of these homes, so those private rear yards access living, dining, kitchen spaces, so there's an activity. The indoor-outdoor relationship was important in that as a design feature. I'm going to flip to the next slide, I think. Is it down, Sal? Yeah, it's not quite working. Let's see. I'm going to do that. I guess I'll just go the slow route. Sorry about that. You saw the street scene earlier. This gives you an indication of the architecture in the street scene. So we have very purposefully designed the homes to have front doors facing the streets, the park spaces, the open spaces, et cetera. And you can see that on here, front doors and a variety of architectural details and movement in the facades. I'll get into some of those details here in the next couple of slides. These next couple of slides show you typical homes. We're using a farmhouse aesthetic. We've looked at both a modern interpretation of farmhouse as well as a more traditional farmhouse, and you'll see that in these 2 slides. We are looking at articulating those facades on all sides, including materials such as stucco, horizontal siding, board and batten, numerous other corbel details, etc. And as we move further through my presentation, you'll start to see some of those details highlighted here, showing the differences. We have a total of 4 different color schemes on top of this, so you'll see a variety of colors, you'll see a variety of details, and
And really importantly, beyond that, it's the massing. There's movement in the roof line and the eave line to create variety rather than all of the same. So this is showing our modern farmhouse aesthetics. We have a little cleaner line, tighter roof eaves, etc. Some of the metal roof details and corbelling, awnings, etc. convey a slightly more modern take on farmhouse, where this next slide shows you a little bit more detail on the traditional. So you'll start to see some variation of a similar floor plan, but you'll see the variation in the roof line starting to move that up and down a little bit differently, moving into different types of sidings and materials to help articulate those differences. And with that said, I'm happy to answer any questions as we conclude the presentation. This last slide shows you what the park off of our main 30-foot entry drive would look like. Again, front doors facing, you can see the blue door here and a few doors in the background fronting that park space to help activate the space. We move on to the next portion of our presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tim Hutter. I'm a partner at Allen Matkins, and here just to talk to you a little bit about the density bonus component of the project. As you heard, this is a density bonus project. It is providing very low-income units. It is not taking any additional units by virtue of the density bonus. The base case today for the project would be a base density of 46 units. If you were to include the 3 affordable units as part of the 46, don't make lawyers do math, but you would get a 22.5% bonus and be up to 57 units. So what we're talking about here with a proposed density of 60 is something that's easily achievable given the current zoning if you were to use a density bonus. In fact, if you wanted to take the existing density of 46 units and using state double density bonus under AB 1287, you could get all the way up to 92 units. So there are some limitations with this site, obviously, because of fire access and the like, and that's part of the reason why we're ending up at the unit count of 60. But rest assured, there are probably others in the development community who would be pushing the limits a little bit more than these guys are. I also wanted to kind of frame this in terms of where the city is. I'm sure you guys are hearing about this all the time, but you know, the city's latest 2025 Housing Progress Report reflects the city's RHNA goal of the different income categories. In fact, 749 units were allocated to the city as part of this most recent cycle, and that's just in the very low income category. To date, just 107 units have been permitted. That's 14.3% of the goal. That's the lowest percentage of any category. You're doing better in the low income category and actually even in the moderate income category, and of course above moderate. So that sort of speaks to some of the struggle and the reason for why we think the very low income units are important. I also wanted to raise specific to ownership units, which I don't see very much, frankly, in my business, even though I do density bonus all day long, is the city's 2024 to 2025 annual survey reflected on the available ownership units that are affordable in the city. Found that there were just 130 such units, affordable units, that are designated and restricted, and that the turnover for those is 0.76%, meaning that 1 unit out of those 130 becomes available every year. I don't know how accurate that statistic is. Maybe in a given year you might get 2, but these guys are offering 3, and they're offering 3 at a particular size, you know, that is more of the condo type entry level unit that you might see in other jurisdictions. So the reason why I raise those statistics is kind of to show that, you know, this speaks to the city's need for units like this for affordable production. In addition to the state law requirements that come with density bonus, this is a project that really is providing something that the city's looking for and you know, under state law is sort of trying to target. So we urge the Planning Commission to heed staff's recommendation, and we're here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other applicant speakers? Is this Joy?
Good evening, Commissioners and City staff. My name is Joy Hendricks from C&V Consulting. We are the civil engineers on this development. We've taken great care and consideration on the design of this development. In addition, C&V Consulting was a civil engineer for the Northerly City Ventures project. And so that allowed us to incorporate both the connectivity, the grading, and the utility design into this community. Oak Road, as noted previously, is a primary access point to the site, and it has been widened to match the layout and connectivity for the City Venture site. This was required by City Staff Traffic Division, and allows the main drive aisle loop to access multiple points in our site. So, in addition, we've had significant coordination with Ventura County Fire Department in terms of access, fire prevention, hydrant locations throughout the proposed site. Utilities were located within the northerly portion of Oak Road, were extended to this future development during the design stage with City Ventures. So this allows and limits the potential construction in North Oak Road and any disturbance to future homeowners. Golden State Water Company is a water purveyor for this area, and we've worked with them to extend a proposed connection for this development. Public water will loop through our community and provide hydrants and water services to each unit. The existing sewer, which is city public sewer, runs through Oak Road, flows south, and then continues east through the mobile home community and provides connections for the development. The site has also been graded to follow the natural topography of the site, which drains in the southwesterly direction. This allows us to limit fill to the site, retaining walls, and maintain the existing drainage pattern. In addition, since we were the engineers for City Ventures, we have a clear understanding of the drainage that's off-site and running onto our site, so we're able to pick it up and take it through the development. We are proposing a private underground storm drain system that will collect, convey, and treat the stormwater. Per the city's drainage policy, we are proposing underground detention to mitigate and handle the peak runoff and volume. So as a result, the site will reduce the runoff tributary to the channel. Thank you for your time. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I show one more speaker card from the applicant. Is it Kurt Randall or?
I checked not speaking.
Did you? Oh, okay. Thank you. Should I go to the public comments or can we ask questions? Questions for the applicant? Yes. At this time, are there any questions for the applicant, the commissioners?
I got one question for Joy. The utilities are going to be all underground, electrical, no wires above? Thank you.
Ivana? Excuse me.
I have a question for the applicant. Are there going to be some kind of gates or walls in between two townhomes?
Yes, there are. I was gonna maybe see if there's a slide for you. They may not be on the landscape plan, but yeah, they are. So you can see there's little gates between the houses. And so
And they're going to be standard 6 feet wall.
6? 6, yes.
And I have another question since you're here, and maybe that's for the staff. Is the road of 30 feet private road, or so the HOA is going to be maintaining that road? Thank you.
Okay, don't go anywhere yet. I like that slide.
Okay.
And looking at the land as it's platted, the land to the south across the wash, that triangle piece, that's part of this parcel as well, correct?
It's on its own parcel, but common ownership. It's intended, and I think Noreen may have mentioned this in the staff report, that if and when there's potential access to get there, then we could develop that site. But currently, there's not enough access to build anything there.
And I think that was my earlier bridge cap question, trying to get to that site.
Yeah, that's currently a bridge that's used by the two residents that are to the south, as well as the mail truck and garbage and everything. So it's been there for, I don't know, just since the 70s, I think.
Yeah, that would be about right. So as far as maintenance goes for that property, is that going to kick back to the HOA, or that's not part of the homeowners association?
Well, we're hoping that it doesn't take too long to find that access.
Okay.
If we're happy to include it in the HOA or provide an agreement with the city to make sure it's maintained properly.
And this may be the incorrect question, but when figuring out the density of the project, was that additional land included in the density calculations, or is it just the structured area?
I understand the question. So it depends on where you're looking. I believe it's 4.4 acres of land north of the channel, and there's 60 units there. That's the 13.4 to the acre. The whole site is getting rezoned for higher density. Without that higher density, then there's not enough units to build on the triangle piece. So that's one of the reasons why the higher density requirement.
It's the reason for my question. Thank you.
Just really quickly, just for clarification, Commissioner Tolson asked a question of the applicant, and the applicant wasn't at the microphone. Just for clarification, the applicant said that the utilities would be undergrounded. Okay.
That is correct.
I have three more questions that are all like together as one. Do you know how estimated costs of the HOA would be a month?
We have not done an HOA budget. That usually happens later when you have the final landscape drawings, especially because it's expensive to maintain that. On projects like this that we've done in the past, it's probably between 200 and 300 a month.
Are they going to be the same for the low-income housing?
Not usually. Depends on how the HOA is set up, but in the past, we've set it up in, so it's based on size of the unit. So they would actually pay a lot less.
Okay, thank you. And what are the estimated, and I know it's in the staff report, but for the rest of the people, what are the estimated prices for the regular versus in low-income housing?
So we don't know exactly yet, but because it's going to be a little while before we actually go to sale, but it's probably in the mid sevens to high sevens.
And the low income?
In the low income, there's a calculation for it. My understanding, it's around $100,000. Noreen might have a better
At the moment, it's around $130,000 for each low income unit.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Any other questions of the applicant at this time? Thank you very much. Okay, is there anyone in the chamber wishing to be heard on this matter? And I have cards here. There's is it a Dane Chadwick? Yes. In support? Yeah, thank you.
Good evening. I'm definitely for this project. I've seen so many projects come that, the 3-story towering townhomes and, the 4-story Alamo apartments and whatnot, but this is great. Whenever I can see a single-family home, detached type of planned development, I'm all for it. So this has got my vote. Thank you.
Thank you. The next card I have is for Heather Moss.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Heather Moss. I'm a 15-year resident of Central Simi Valley, and I work in the local business community here. I'm here tonight to urge you to save the mature oak trees the developers of the Oak Park South project are seeking to remove for a large, high-density housing project development on the site. These trees are located on the property along rural Oak Road and are among Simi Valley's oldest indigenous residents. I speak for all the trees, with particular attention to the trees I believe are identified as T41 and T1. These trees are mature, healthy, and majestic. Based on their size and stature, they are clearly antique. I would estimate them to be at least 100 to 300 years old. The developer retained arborist Richard Campbell to prepare an oak tree report. Much of the report focuses on tree replacement costs, but trees that have stood for centuries truly cannot be replaced. When evaluating trees of this magnitude, the most important issues are their age, health, and historical significance. His report omits several critical issues, including the tree's ages and potential historic protections. No estimated ages or age ranges are provided. These omissions are significant as mature oak trees qualify for protections under Simi Valley's Tree Preservation Ordinance. Mr. Campbell states the trees are within the footprint of the proposed building and construction and scheduled for removal, but does not address whether their age, stature, or historical significance warrant further evaluation and protection. A responsible, unbiased arborist would recognize that mature oak trees may qualify for protection under the city's ordinance. Their age is directly relevant to any fair and objective preservation analysis. Sadly, T41 and its neighboring trees are being slated for removal for this overcrowded proposed housing development. It appears the trees may not have previously received protected status due to oversight or lack of identification. However, prior designation is not required for protection under Simi Valley's Mature Tree Preservation Ordinance, and they remain entitled to full review under that law. These majestic trees should be incorporated into the project design, not destroyed. The developers knowingly purchased the property containing the mature oak trees along a rural roadway appropriately named Oak Road, named for the oak trees that historically define the area. What appears to be tree T41 serves as the welcoming cornerstone of the property. Any effort to bypass proper preservation review should be halted. Available information suggests T41 has stood for well over a century and remains a significant feature of the local landscape. Its historic and environmental value warrants careful review before any irreversible action is taken. T41 could very well be one of the oldest living members of our community. Please take a stand and help preserve these living landmarks. Simi Valley's Tree Ordinance, Chapter 938, recognizes that trees, especially mature, healthy trees, foster an image of beauty, tranquility, and stability throughout our community. These many benefits should be preserved for future generations. Local ordinances require careful review before significant natural resources can be removed or altered. These trees, along with their nearby companions, reflects those values. Their removal is not justified, and any development should incorporate and preserve them within the project design. The trees on Oak Road South property warrant full review and protection under the applicable preservation provisions. Tonight, I wear this tree necklace in solidarity with these historic oak trees. Please help the trees remain standing in their indigenous home on Oak Road. I respectfully urge the Planning Commission to preserve and protect our community's living links to Simi Valley's past and deny this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next speaker card that I have, and the last one, is from James McGillis.
Chair Kennedy, members of the Planning Commission, staff, I'm James McGillis, resident here in Simi Valley. On April 14th, 2026, I attended a meeting of Neighborhood Council Number 2 and received a printed package regarding the proposed Oak Road South project. The project included 60 single-family homes placed 7 feet apart with 10 feet deep backyards and driveways 10 feet long. Can't park a car there. This high-density project stretches both the law and our imaginations, but amazingly, it qualifies as a near miss to the city's zoning laws and must therefore be approved. Ironically, when the city conducted a comprehensive traffic study for the project, it included a map of 60 townhomes clustered in a total of 14 buildings. That map clearly shows the canopies of 2 large valley oaks. The trunk of T1 is 68 inches in diameter and estimated by its caretaker to be 500 years old. The trunk of T41 is 62 inches in diameter and may be 200 years old. It is a tree that is depicted on my t-shirt tonight. A tree report was prepared for the project. The overall site currently has 53 mature trees, including 6 valley oak trees. Which lucky valley oak tree is going to be allowed to survive? And it's not delineated in tonight's presentation as to which one it may be. Based on the current conceptual landscape plan, we don't know which tree will be spared. Quoting from the tree report, while several valley oak individuals were observed, they did not comprise the minimum relative cover requirements to meet the vegetation community membership rules, I didn't know there were such a thing, which are over 30% when coast live oaks are present. In other words, these valley oaks did not plan and propagate in sufficient numbers to meet the artificial human designation as a protected habitat. So large families of trees are protected, but small families are given only a cash value. Although this relict forest is an irreplaceable asset to both the natural environment and to the city of Simi Valley, the tree report discounts them to 20% total impact value of just over $250,000. If you go to the website for Angel City Lumber, a custom lumber mill in Los Angeles, specializing in slabs cut from Southern California tree specimens, you will see that a single 8-foot tree slab of a valley oak is valued at $5,000. To my knowledge, there is no lumber mill in the United States capable of cutting a 68-inch slab, largely because there are no unprotected trees of that size. According to the current California state law, the project qualifies for a near miss in Simi Valley's general plan amendment and zone change requirements. That means the project cannot be challenged for not meeting every term of the current zoning laws. Like a near miss in the game of horseshoes, the project scores enough points to win legal approval. The city's mature tree preservation regulations require the applicant to replace and remove the removed trees with specimens of a certain size planted on the site, valued up to the appraised value of the trees being removed, or contribute to the tree fund. Deep in the tree report, in small print, is verbiage regarding 4 of the 6 valley oaks, which says, quote, may qualify as historic tree status. In 2006, Simi Valley allowed the destruction of its then designated heritage oak. It was an old deteriorating tree, so it was replaced with residential development. Tree T1 and T41 have stood the test of time. With some careful pruning and drip line protection, they could live for many years to come. So which is it? Are these trees to be cut for firewood, or are you going to stand against the developer's greed? And my suggestion is that the development plan be denied. The developer should protect at least T1 and T41. The plan for the development should revert to the from 60 single-family homes to the formerly proposed during the traffic study 60 townhomes as originally prepared. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, are there any comments from staff regarding statements made during the public hearing?
Just a few.
Just a few, yes.
I'd like to respond first to some questions about the sales price, AMI, and the RENA numbers that the applicant mentioned. Sorry, bear with me. So the very low income houses are to be for 30% to 50% area median income for very low. That's what very low income means. Those income levels are $31,450 for a single person household and $59,900 for a 2-person household. The sales price will be approximately $130,000 for each of those affordable units. In terms of the RENA allocations, the very low RENA allocation that the city has is 375 units for this cycle. With including these units, we would still have 283 unmet very low income units if this project were to be approved. With regard to the near miss provision, that is actually CEQA law, not City Development Code. I don't know if we have our CEQA consultants here tonight if they want to elaborate on that.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jennifer Marks. I'm with SOMAS. I'm the city's environmental consultant. We did prepare the initial study based on several of the technical studies that were prepared, and then we third-party reviewed the majority of them from the applicant's team. And as far as the near miss that we're talking about, the project does qualify for a statutory exemption according to Assembly Bill 130. Except for one item, which there was a Senate Bill 131 that was released in 2025 that allows you to still qualify for a statutory exemption with the urban infill housing development if you have one item that does not quite hit the qualifications that are identified. It's a list of about 20 different topics, and one of those topics is compliance with the general plan and zoning, and so that is the one near miss that was identified. Otherwise, it does fall within all of the requirements of the statutory exemption. So I'm available for any questions.
Thank you.
And then the mention of the project in the traffic report. The original traffic report was actually for 73 attached units, which was prior to the fire department letting the applicant know that they could only construct 60 units because of the single means of in and out. And that is what prompted the applicant to redesign their project. So that was actually 73 attached units on that site plan, not 60. Now I'm going to come to the trees, so I'm going to jump around a bit, so just bear with me. I'm going to answer the first question about the tree that was not removed, not being shown. So if you look at the tree removal map attached to the tree report, it's actually T51 back here. That's not being removed. The ones circled in red are being removed. Then, let me just jump to the tree ordinance.
Wait, could you
I'm
go
sorry.
back a little?
But T51 was also the one in the worst condition, wasn't it?
Yes, but it's not in the, it's not on the, it's not in the development footprint, so it's not being removed. Yeah.
And the one in the lower right corner there?
This one?
Yeah, no, further. Yeah, right there.
That's not an oak tree. That's,
Yeah, that's what I
a
thought.
protected tree.
Okay, thank you.
I couldn't fit all 52 circles on this. With regard to the 30% rule, that is in the biological assessment. You do need a number to determine how many oak trees constitutes an oak woodland, and that's where the 30% threshold comes from. Sorry, I'm just trying to tick all these things off. In terms of the tree ordinance, so this is a portion of the tree ordinance. The age of the tree is actually not in the ordinance, mostly because I did check this with our arborist, and what he said was it's very hard to determine the age of a tree without actually boring into the tree. He did say the oak tree, the biggest oak tree is probably between 150 and 300 years old. So that is one thing to consider. The tree valuation, as you can see here, is based on the health of the tree, the aesthetic quality of the tree, damage of the tree, and the replacement value of the tree is based on the guide for establishing values of trees and other plants prepared by the Council of Tree Landscape Appraisers. That is what is used for every single project. And this, as a summary, this was the health and aesthetics of the oak trees to be removed. So they're between C+ and D. And I'm sorry, I'm just jumping between slides. So in terms of the tree being historic, there are a couple of things that come into play with this. One is the tree report, obviously, and the other one is actually the cultural resources report. If a tree, the tree itself is not listed by the Ventura County Cultural Heritage Board, however, we do have the leeway to refer a tree or any structure on a site to the Ventura County Heritage Board for listing. There are certain criteria, for example, particular historic, cultural, scenic, or aesthetic significance to the city, or my favorite, which is imbued with traditional or legendary lore. I found that to be quite catchy. However, the cultural report itself for this site does not identify any cultural remains, no tribal remains. We did do tribal consultation with 15 tribes over 3 months, and nothing was identified on the site. As such, we have no basis for referring these trees to the Cultural Heritage Board. Historic tree status. Just to clarify, the NC meeting package is a pared down package, so it doesn't have the complete information that's in the staff report. That is why some of the tree report, for example, was not included. So just to clarify, as we determine, the project does meet the city's tree ordinance. Aesthetics. I believe somebody commented about the density. So we have this slide here, which is basically the density of the subject site and then the density of the surrounding projects on the site. So you can see to the north is the site that's under construction right now, which is 19.39 acres versus 13.4 for the project site. To the east, the Crest Mobile Homes are 10.42 units per acre. The Simi Country Mobile Homes are 10.09 units per acre. The Sage Creek Apartments are 23.97 units per acre, and the Regency Apartments are 35.38 units per acre. So just to clarify the density context for the site.
And Naren, can you leave it on that slide there? Also, we can clarify that the little triangle parcel to the south of the channel is not part of the density allowance.
Correct, yes.
Tonight's item is a 2-lot subdivision. So we're creating 2 new lots, one north of the channel and south of the channel. The one on the north side is for condominium purposes, so technically it's a condominium map. So it's 1 lot. Lot 2 was not intended to be part of this development. The applicant is requesting it to remain vacant and develop later. There was a question about, is it going to be maintained? That we could discuss that part of it, but it's really a different lot, not part of the planned development boundary per se, but that could be a discussion. And also, I don't know if that might be on Naren's list already, but there was a question about the utility undergrounding, and there was there's one little section, Naren could probably point out, where the poles will remain near the flood channel to hop over to channel and to serve the properties to the south.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the bulk of the lot will be undergrounded.
And that's all the responses that I have. Thank you.
Yeah, that kind of answers the questions that I had on that as well, and I think the majority of Mr. McGillis's questions as well. At this time, would the applicant like to respond to any of the comments regarding statements made during the public hearing? Seeing none, thank you. If there are no further questions, we will close the public testimony portion of the hearing. Are there any additional comments or questions from members of the Planning Commission at this time?
Do you want to go first?
You know what? I'm going to go first. I don't want to go first, but I'm going to go first. There's a lot of things I like about this project. One, I think that the density should be the same as the projects around it. That's very logical. I like the size of the project, the scale of the project. I like the design of the project. I like the thought behind the project, but I hate taking out oak trees. I really, really hate taking out oak trees, and I hate taking out heritage oak trees. This is disgusting. I can understand taking out the small oak trees, but taking out a tree like T1 or T41 or even T10, I find it disgusting. I don't think that should happen. But if the developer could find a way to use that as the centerpiece of this project, I would be like, this is fantastic, this is wonderful, and this is going to be a showstopper. But to me, this is, if we're not going to save these trees, then why do we even have a tree ordinance? What's the purpose? Then we might as well just rip it up, because I don't see the purpose of it.
Trying to say the guardrails aren't adequate.
There are no guardrails. I mean, like, what's the purpose? I mean, it's a meaningless piece of paper. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you.
Commissioner Chrisman?
On that note, I agree with you, Commissioner Rice, and I have a couple of questions. It says in the supplemental that there's good forestry practices when it comes to standard for granting or disapproving tree removal permits. So with the tree being graded C+, how do where do the standards bottom and in agreeing to remove a tree? If that's my first question. And then my second question is that it said that in the initial forest report or tree report, it says that they might be historic trees. Mr. McGillis mentioned that as well. And then in the additional addendum, it said that they're not, unless there is, trying to find it with my notes, there is a list of historic trees and the status of it, is there such a document within Simi Valley?
Sorry, could I ask for clarification on your first question? Where do you see the...
It's on the second page of the mature tree preservation ordinance from our municipal code. It's 938-080, and it's number 4, good forestry practices. What does that entail?
And you said it's in the supplemental?
Yes. Yes, it's after the emails from Mr. McGillis.
Oh, okay.
It's in
okay.
the attachments.
It's going to be on the third page, I'm sorry. 938-080, standard for granting or disapproving tree removal permits. And then it's going to be item number 4, good forestry practices. If you can just elaborate on that, when a tree gets C+ or C-, is that considered bad forestry practice, or it doesn't at all qualify for that category?
From what I'm reading here, it's more like you can't have... If the site can only hold about 20 trees, and the trees that you can't put like more of them for mitigation value. That's how I'm reading. I mean, good forestry practices covers... I'm not an arborist, but it does, in my experience, it covers a lot of different things. It covers anything from how you trim trees. For example, if you're trimming mature trees, it should be done under an arborist supervision. It also covers how you plant trees on a site, that they should have adequate irrigation, spacing, and things like that. So it really covers a broad spectrum of issues.
Thank you. So there's nothing in our tree ordinance that would say like, oh, if the tree gets a certain grade, it becomes a protected tree.
So we have, let me share this slide. So these are the guidelines for trees associated with urban development. The initial project layout, design, grading shall recognize the desirability of preserving protected trees with appropriate modification, adjustments to accommodate preservation and maintenance by locating the best candidates in areas where preservation is feasible. it basically lays out a roadmap for a developer to design their project accordingly. However, at the same time, it says it may not be practical to preserve all healthy trees, and therefore the city and the developer shall be willing to compromise the goal of complete tree preservation. So really, when the project design is put forth to us, we do let applicants know, like, if you're removing trees like this, it's not going to be popular. It's not going to be something that the planning commission is going to like. It's probably not going to be something that the city council can like. It's really up to you to argue your case. In this case, the argument is that the financial requirements for them to create this detached project requires them to remove the trees. So staff kind of walks the fine line between telling applicants, this is what in the ideal world the city and we would like in your project, but then the applicant has other priorities as well. So what we present to the planning commission has the ability to say, this doesn't, let me back up a bit. Staff's recommendation is based on the project meeting the regulatory requirements.
The technical requirements.
Yeah, the technical requirements. The planning commission is the body or the city council that has the power to say, that's not enough, we want you to do more. So does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
And I'm sorry, I forgot your
agree
second.
with Commissioner Rice
And
on everything he said.
I'm sorry, I forgot your second question. Was that
I feel like it tied to the first one, and I feel like you answered both. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I've got one question, maybe for our attorney. They are applying for one incentive and 4 waivers based upon the plans that they've put forward. If we deny this project, can't they just go legally to Sacramento and say AB 130 allows us to do these things?
Mr. Commissioner, or Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. So the important thing to remember here is that there's a legislative decision that has to be made by the city council, which is a general plan amendment, which means that ordinarily if they met all the objective development standards that were in place for this type of development, then the answer to your question would be not necessarily Sacramento, but to somebody in court. But this is a recommendation from the Planning Commission to the City Council to make certain legislative decisions to amend the general plan to allow this type of development to move forward. And under those circumstances, because the housing development as proposed does not meet the objective standards in the general plan and the zoning, that option is not available to the developer, which in anticipation of your follow-up question means that yes, the Planning Commission could continue the matter, for example, and ask the developer to come back with an alternate proposal that might preserve at least 1 or 2 of the trees, or the Planning Commission could make a vote, however it chooses, to the planning or to the City Council.
That being said, and I'm just throwing this out there, the average rating for an oak is a C. So, and T10, as much as I would want to preserve T10 as well, is a D. So that would leave T1 and T42, or excuse me, T41, my bad, who are the biggest trees out there. So, and like Mr. McGillis said, I believe that T1 is probably the reason why the street has its name. And I don't know. I don't know if that makes the project even viable, but maybe. And maybe if we had an arborist to, I don't know, if maybe the developer would want to continue this, maybe, I don't know, just to throw that idea out there.
Was there,
You may say no.
was there
No.
ever, I guess this is a question for the developer, but if you allow this question, you will have to reopen the public hearing. Was there ever consideration from the developer to incorporate the trees?
Okay, let's go back to the developer and reopen.
As I mentioned, the first proposal did preserve, I can't remember exactly which trees, but they did preserve a couple of the trees. But I'd defer to the applicant to respond to that question in more detail.
Would the applicant like to respond to that? Thank you. Could we bring up the map of the development with the tree overlay?
Let me know you're ready.
Yeah, we're going to reopen this portion for the applicant to respond, or public testimony.
Thank you. So first, I want to make sure we understand what staff said, that we are in compliance with the tree ordinance. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. There's some items that also were brought up. We have a condition to invest or contribute $533,000 for the trees being removed. It's over $500,000. It's a lot of money. The project to the north of us, very similar situation. They actually had a much different general plan amendment zone change. They had commercial and residential. It was rezoned to high density. It had a tree very similar to ours. It was approved and removed. Just to be clear, there is no list at the city for a tree. No protected list. They do rely on the Ventura County list. There was no nexus for recommendation, as staff said. The city reviewed our arborist report. We provided addendums. The city had a third-party arborist report reviewing ours and complied, and confirmed the findings. So we had 2 arborists, including the city's, to review. There was a mention about the first site plan with the, I think it's T1 and T41. That was over 4 years ago. A lot has happened in 4 years. I wish I was talking to you just, say, 12 months after we submitted our application. It really should have been that way. We were given several different detours. It was something that was very frustrating with us, and part of that was the economy changed. The number of units changed. The site constraints changed. Our initial project did not have any affordable units. We had to add 3 affordable units, so we started with 73 townhomes. We went down to 60 units. We were rejected by that, and we had to add a density bonus because of it, so we lost 3 more units. The only reason that those trees were going to be preserved was allowing for that project. Unfortunately, that's not possible. If that project was possible with the fire department, then we probably would have been building by now, but unfortunately, it's not possible. There is no way to save those trees and do this project. So we're weighing now saving trees or finding housing for people in this housing crisis. We've got 60 homes, 3 of which will be designated very low affordable, $130,000. It's really low. I mean, think about that person who's trying to, get into the home ownership, trying to have shelter. And instead of that, we're going to save a tree. Now, keep in mind, we're replacing the tree with minimum, I think, 36-inch box trees. They could be bigger. And if we can't fit them on site because they just don't either fit physically, then we pay the $533,000. So in my opinion, in staff's opinion, in our arborist's opinion, I think that homeowner's opinion, this plan is the project you should approve. Thank you.
Briefly, I think it does bear repeating from staff that there is compliance and review with the city's mature tree regulations. I understand Commissioner Rice's position, which is if they don't protect these trees, then maybe the regulations need to be changed. But the regulations as implemented by staff have been put in place and evaluated for purposes of this project. To the extent that the city is taking a position of saying that these regulations are going to be implemented in a different way, or would be put in place and to preclude construction of the project, that could be a density bonus waiver in and of itself, in which the city would then be making specific density bonus findings in order to deny a waiver request. So because staff's position on this has been the project complies, there's a condition of approval, there will be a tree removal permit consistent with the city's code. There's no waiver request pending before you because there's a need for one. But to the extent that the position of the commission is, hey, we think that we want to either kick this project out further or overrule staff on that determination, then I think that would be kind of the direction that the applicant would go, and then it would come back likely to the commission for purposes of, or working with staff for purposes of making those findings to determine whether there is a public health and safety impact that could be justifiable to save the trees.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, if I may, just for clarification, staff has made a recommendation, that is a threshold recommendation, that the project meets the regulatory requirements. And I reemphasize my observations that I made before, which is part of the application is for a legislative decision being made by the city council, which means there's no legal obligation for the city council to make that legislative decision. So yes, the project meets the bare minimum regulatory requirements with regard to the tree regulations and what have you. That doesn't mean, though, that this planning commission can't recommend to the city council for something in addition to that in order to get that legislative decision made by the city council.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay. Any further questions? Okay, if there are no further questions, we'll close the public testimony. And it's closed at this time. Are there any, we already asked, any further comments from the Planning Commission members at this time?
I like the affordability of the project.
This comment time, yes, please.
Yes. I like the affordability of the project, but I really, as Commissioner Rice said, struggle with the tree situation. So we can maybe discuss that a little more.
Commissioner Rice, you said that that tree was rated at a D.
That was T, oh, sorry. That was T, no, it's T10.
Oh.
Is a D. But T1 is a C minus and T41 is a C plus. And C is an average rating, so for an oak tree. So.
Well, I put it in a nutshell, this is a really good project.
No, I agree. But
And,
see, here's the thing. I mean, like, you get rid of a 300-year-old tree. I mean, look, I understand what the applicant's saying, but the point is, like, the 300-year-old tree, you don't bring back a 300-year-old tree. It's just not going to come back. And I understand. Yeah, I mean, there's people who want a home. I understand that. But you cannot just bring back a 300-year-old tree with a 36-inch box tree. That's just not going to, or a 48-inch box tree for that matter.
No.
You know, it's just not going to, you just don't do that. Or with 5 40-inch box trees, it's not going to replace it.
No,
Not in our lifetime.
No, I don't, maybe that tree might last another 100 years anyway in its current condition.
Yeah.
Environment. I think what we're balancing here is, are we going to bring some affordable housing here with a good project and a good place and sacrifice a few trees? That looks like the direction we're headed under the current guidance that we have. Until they change that coverage guidance, you know, with the amount of oak trees and how they live together. So,
well, I can't vote for this the way it is. There's just no way. I'm sorry. So,
all right. Any other comments?
We could be also possibly looking in I'm playing devil's advocate in a worse project that might come in before us.
Always.
Yeah, always. Or a better project. I mean, like, who knows? It's possible.
And I'm not saying by any means that it's a bad project. It's just that the component of the trees being removed is.
Well, other than the trees, it checks all the boxes for me. Right? That's the only part that is the difficult part of this.
I mean,
But,
I do have a little bit of a concern with the windows on the side of the buildings with just 7 feet apart. Because there's a lot of windows. But that's,
Determination of the buyers at the time,
yes.
right? I won't tell you what my fireman guys say about that, but
Remember that whatever we come to conclusions tonight gets pushed up one level. And maybe it's just a matter of us expressing our opinions and letting them know how we feel.
I concur.
It's a great project, except 2 trees.
Okay. It sounds like we're done discussing this. So may I please have a reading of the resolution at this time?
Resolution number SVPC 07-2026, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Simi Valley recommending to the City Council approval of a general plan amendment GPA 2024-0001, zone change ZS 2024-0003, plan development permit PDS 2024-0005, and tentative map TT 2024-0004 to change the general plan land use from moderate density and medium density residential to high density residential. Change the zoning designation from residential moderate density R-mod and residential medium density RM to residential high density RH. To construct a 60-unit, 2-story, multifamily residential condominium development with an affordable housing agreement located at 1761, 1801, and 1807 Oak Road, and a determination that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act.
Thank you. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Chairman Kennedy, before a motion is made, I just want to reiterate some of the procedures here. If you choose to recommend approval, that's one option. If you want to request a continuance or something tangible for staff or the applicant to look at, we could reach out to the applicant to see if they concur, or you can make that motion on your own. To clarify, if you do a motion for denial, that would require the applicant to appeal to the city council because it's a legislative action, so you actually have to file an appeal to city council. And we would also come back with a resolution with the denial recommendation, denying the project with adequate findings. So I'm hearing some of these potential findings regarding the tree aesthetics, and we will come back with a final resolution on the denial.
Sound about right? Everybody get that? All right. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
I would like to. I would like to move. I know this is pre-screening. I should read it, but I want to have the recommendation for city council to work with the developer to keep the trees, to approve it, but with that condition. So I guess I'll move to adopt a resolution recommending that the city council approve GPA 2024-0001, ZS 2024-0003, and PDS 2024-0005, and TT 2024-0004, and a determination that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act with a condition that the city council works with or the staff works with the developer to possibly preserve the trees. I don't know if that's good enough.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, so the resolution will stay as it is with the added recommendation as part of the motion to the city council that as part of its consideration for the legislative determinations that it direct either the city manager or staff to work trying to preserve the trees to the extent
That's
possible.
correct.
Got it.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, let's put it to a vote.
The vote passes with Vice Chairperson Rice voting no.
Microphone back on here.
Yeah, you did.
There is no appeal period for the general plan amendment, zone change, planning development permit, or tentative map, and the items will proceed to the city council with the planning commission's recommendation. Finding my way here. Okay. Item 12. Yeah. Okay, we're now on item 12, oral communications and reports.
Yes,
And
Chair.
Staff.
Sorry. Yes, Chairman Kennedy and members of the commission. Our next scheduled meeting is May 20th, but we expect that to be canceled. And after that, it'll be June 3rd.
Do the commissioners have anything to report?
I do. I want to welcome back Nikki from her maternity leave.
Yay. Okay, mobile home rent mediation board, does staff have anything to report?
We have no items tonight.
Right. Boy, this is a tough one. Tree advisory board, does staff have anything to report?
No additional items tonight on the tree advisory board.
I do have a question since we're on the tree advisory board. In the future, can we bring up tree preservation ordinance? Or have a presentation, if at least a presentation on the tree preservation ordinance?
I think that's a great idea. Get a better understanding of it.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be next month. I'm just
Absolutely. Staff is actually looking at possible code updates to reflect the changing landscape of our mature trees and the very high fire hazard zones and the every so often drought conditions.
fantastic.
All right, this concludes the meeting of May 13th, 2026. The next scheduled meeting may be May 20th, 2026.
Maybe.
Wait a second, this meeting is adjourned. I get to use it.
And I'm actually gonna